Hey fam, it's Blanca La Fina, your world's empress. And if you're just joining, I want to say thank you. Make sure you're subscribed. And to everyone who is subscribed, I want to say thank you to you as well. I have so many more videos for you guys to watch, so make sure you're always staying tuned. Now today we are continuing with our shadow work journal and workbook. And we are on chapter 2, which is illuminating the shadow with empathy, embracing dark emotions. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. So they started off with a new story. Last time it was about Lucas, and this time we have a new story about Sarah. Yes, I did do a little preview. So a new story. In our journey into the shadow, we've already met Luca, an individual who tried to hide their shadows to appear strong and independent. Today, I introduce you to the story of Sarah, a woman who navigated the labyrinth of her own dark emotions with a different approach guided by empathy. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. Now, when we first look at the illustration, we can see right below Sarah's story, we see like someone ripping a heart. So I would imagine this has to do with heartbreak. So let's see, guys. Sarah had always possessed a kind and passionate heart. She was a woman who deeply loved her family and friends, making benevolence an integral part of her life. But behind her radiant smile and loving demeanor, Sarah harbored a secret that caused her immense suffering. She had experienced a devastating heartbreak, one she believed her love was reciprocated with sincerity and depth by someone she considered her life partner. However, betrayal had struck like a bolt from the blue, shattered her heart into 1,000 pieces. Initially, Sarah had tried to conceal her profound sadness and the sense of betrayal that consumed her. She attempted to put a bandage on her emotions, to hold back the tears, and to present a facade of strength to the world. But as time passed, she realized that this denial of her dark emotions was only exacerbating her pain. So Sarah's story is that she faked it until she made it, right? She was faking it. I wonder if she makes it. Let's see. Reflective self-inquiry questions. Sarah's story provides us with an opportunity to explore how empathy can guide our approach to the shadow. Before continuing your journey of reflection, self-inquiry, take a moment to reflect on Sarah's story and how you relate to it. Then answer the following questions. Identification with Sarah. In what ways do you identify with Sarah's story? Have you ever faced a similar situation of betrayal or heartbreak? You know, I just love the way this book reads so easily. So, yeah, like a lot of us can relate to Sarah's story about putting on that mask, putting on that fakeness. And we do that in order to try to cope with what we've dealt with the person that has hurt us, the person that has harmed us, the people that have betrayed us. Personally, I've had people betray me. I can't really say I've had heartbreak, but I have had people betray me. And there are times that I guess I wasn't really too aware. And so I acted like, oh, it was no big deal. It was girlfriends over guys, or I felt like maybe I deserved it. So there's a lot of things that go on in our mind, and then we put on our happy face as if nothing really happened. We don't address the situation. So I think this is a good time for us to go ahead and write in our journals, and you can have your own journal. You don't even have to have the book with you, but I have a place here where I can write. So if you just have like your notepad, you can write down a betrayal and how you reacted towards it, especially like if you put on your happy face, you put on your mask, and it really wasn't the correct reaction for that, because we need to learn how to stand up for ourselves, right? We need to be able to express when we're hurting inside, or maybe even have someone that we can confide in to let them know, hey, look, this person did this to me and this is the way I'm feeling about it. And sometimes just talking to someone who loves you and someone who cares about you can make you feel so much more better. And you don't have to put on that fake happy face anymore. We're not really clowns. So let's continue. How do you think Sarah initially reacted to the betrayal? I think what she did is that she tried to hide that she was hurt. I think she tried to cope with it the best that she could, right? We have another place to write here. How do we think that she reacted to it? Was it the best reaction? No, Sarah, it wasn't. You need to get it out. You need to get these dark emotions out, because it is going to linger. It's going to stay inside of you, and it might even affect how you react to other situations and other people in the future. And we don't want to be hurting ourselves or hurting others, since we don't know how to deal with things. Sometimes we deal with it negatively. So, cheers to you and me. If you're dealing with something, you don't have to hide it. Find someone that you can confide in, because that's always like super good. At least if you can talk about it, even pray about it. If you don't really have someone that you feel like you can trust, pray about it, talk to God. Let's see. Expression of emotions. That's exactly what we were talking about. Sarah initially tried to hide her dark emotions for a period. Do you believe this is an effective strategy for dealing with negative emotions? Why or why not? Well, just like I was saying, no, I don't think that's a good way to deal with the bad emotion, by suppressing them and pushing them down, because of course we're going to get triggered again. Sarah's going to get triggered again one way or the other. Something's going to remind her about that heartbreak, or however she was betrayed. Like personally, I was betrayed like by my best friends, supposedly my friends. And I found out like, hey, those people were not even my friends from the beginning. Okay, I'm a very private person, and when I have a friend, they have to respect my privacy and know that when I confide in them, it's only in them, and we have to have boundaries. So if somebody crosses your boundaries, you need to know that you have the right to speak about it. Like, I didn't even get a chance to say anything to these people. They probably don't even know to this day. I think maybe one of them might know what they did. The other one is like completely oblivious to their actions. And so I just think that maybe if I would have stood up for myself and been more diplomatic about it, and like got a chance to say like, hey, you don't have to do this in order to not be around me anymore. If you don't want to talk to me, if you don't want to be friends, you don't have to betray me. You don't have to try to hurt me. It just gets to the point where it's just like, it's ridiculous. And it has to do with jealousy. Sometimes people become jealous of you and they just want to destroy anything that you have. And they don't care what the consequences are. So let's continue. The power of empathy. I think I know where this is going. I'm getting my own ideas as I'm reading. Sarah later sought support from friends and began sharing her emotions with them. How do you think empathy influenced her experience and her healing process? Again, like I was saying, we need to hear other people's opinion about the situation. We need to have some type of justification as to how we're right and they're wrong. And there's nothing wrong with us feeling bad about it. And what this actually reminded me of is something I was thinking about last night. I was remembering someone, and this person was like super abusive to like everybody around them. And I was remembering how they would put other people in danger. And I felt like I didn't speak up enough about it. And of course, like everyone was afraid of them. And now that I'm more mature and I can reflect on that, now I can tell myself, you know what, if I ever see that again, I know that I can speak and stop it or get that other person out of harm's way. And so with that, I also had to say that I forgive myself. I forgive myself for being scared. I forgive myself for not listening to myself. I forgive myself for not listening and seeing those red flags, right? So let's continue on. The importance of vulnerability. How does Sarah's story highlight the importance of being vulnerable and open about dark emotions? Have you ever experienced the power of vulnerability in your life? Yes. I felt vulnerable, and I still feel vulnerable when I remember about that abusive person, how they used to put people in harm's way, and I felt like I couldn't do anything about it because then something would happen, maybe even worse to them or to me. So I feel like if you've made a mistake by not listening and not seeing those red flags, listening to yourself, your inner self, your higher self, and knowing that you're better than that, it can be hard, especially if someone is doing the wrong thing and we blame ourselves, even though it's that person. We have to remember that person is the one that's wrong, not you. So we just have to say, you know what, sometimes it's not even our own actions. That person has to be responsible for what they are doing. We're not responsible for them. And then again, like if you feel like you could have done something, you can forgive yourself. The role of empathy in reflective self-inquiry. How do you think empathy can be valuable in reflective self-inquiry and in exploring inner shadows? Just like we're talking about, and it has a place right here where we can write, all those different ideas. You could have like been betrayed by a parent, and it's not even your fault. It could have been something that you were confused about and you're like, man, if I only knew better at that time, I could have had the right words. I could have defended myself better, or I could have defended my cousin or my brother or my best friend, and then we put that weight on ourselves. I think that's what's going on. Like, we feel responsible. And even if it's something that's done to us, we still feel responsible. Like, what could I have done to avoid this? I could have done something different. But remember, whoever does what they do, it's on them. They're responsible for it. So that was the end of chapter 2 in our shadow work journal and workbook. I hope you guys liked it. Remember that I have many more videos coming out, and especially with my tarot cards. I want you to stay blessed, doing your best, and make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below about this situation where you've been betrayed and what's the best thing to do about it. What was your reaction? Do we fake it till we make it? I'd love to know. Mwah.